The idealization phase. How the mirror was built. There is a reason the beginning felt like love. There is a reason you remember their eyes, their words, their presence, not just with clarity, but with longing. It was not all fake, but it was never real in the way you thought. What you experienced was not a bond, it was a construction, not of two selves meeting, but of one gaze building a mirror. And that mirror with you. In MPIT, we understand this phase not as love bombing, a term that oversimplifies and trivializes, but as a libidinal process rooted in the narcissist's unmetabolized annihilatory terror and in the survivor's internal longing to be known. This phase is where the shared fantasy begins. And this is how it unfolds beneath the surface, biologically, psychologically, and symbolically. Let us walk through the mirror together. What is being idealized? At first glance, it seems like the narcissist is idealizing you, your traits, your beauty, your intelligence, your uniqueness. But MPIT reveals a much deeper reality. The narcissist is not idealizing you as you are. They are idealizing a projected imago, an internal image, a relic, a ghost from their past. Specifically, they are trying to resurrect the idealized mother imago, the fragment of a good enough object that never stabilized in their infancy. In the early stages of narcissistic relating, the narcissist uses your presence to trigger and stabilize their own disassociated libidinal thread. This thread, the original bond to safety, nurture, containment, was shattered by early catastrophic stimulus overload. That early overload formed what MPIT calls the annihilatory stress response. The ASR is the first rupture of the gate. It is the infant's neurosymbolic scream into an environment that cannot hold them. In a disordered child, this scream is sealed, unprocessed, unmirrored, unfelt, and held in abeyance. But when they meet you, something shifts. They begin to hope again. The mirror begins to form. You're not being seen, you're being scanned. Your eyes, your voice, your boundaries, your affective range, they are being analysed at subconscious speed. They are looking for evidence of containment, echoes of unmet comfort, emotional compliance, affective modulation, and idealised yes. Once they detect enough of these signals, the process begins. The narcissist idealizes you, not because they love you, but because they need you to stabilize the shattered imago, to make it real, to live inside them, to give it form. But here's the most haunting truth: it feels real to them too. They are not pretending, but it is rooted in simulation, not authentic relational authorship. This is why the beginning feels mutual, because both of you are being flooded, them with the fantasy of reconstitution, you with the fantasy of finally being chosen. What is happening inside you? While the narcissist is attempting to regulate their annihilatory stress response by using you as a symbolic container, something is beginning to happen inside you too. Your own gate opens wide. You are flooded with affect. You feel seen, special, understood, needed, and destined. These are not delusions. These are libidinal truths being activated inside you. But, and this is crucial, they are being activated without your full consent. The narcissist is not co-regulating with you. They are all floating into you. Your body registers this asymmetry. You begin to feel hypervigilant in moments that should feel calm. You begin to overperform emotionally. You begin to fear doing it wrong. You try to maintain the fantasy even before you know it is a fantasy. This is the early sign of mirrored psychic inversion. The moment you begin to sacrifice reality to preserve the relationship, the moment you prioritize the gaze over the ground, you begin to invert. You do not collapse, not yet, but you enter the hall of mirrors. Idealization is not affection, it is regulation. One of MPIT's core findings is that idealization is not about you. It is about the narcissist's internal world attempting to stabilize. To understand this, we must return to the ASR. When the narcissist first meets you, their internal world awakens. The libidinal thread, once dormant, reactivates. They feel alive, focused, hopeful. But this thread is fragile. It depends on your continual mirroring, your compliance, your failure to defy the fantasy. Any perceived deviation triggers the gate, the narcissist's affective regulator, to begin over functioning. Micro devaluations begin to occur. You are subtly criticized. Your intentions are questioned. Your joy is made unsafe. And yet they still love you because idealization is still active but under strain. The gate begins to malfunction. You sense a shift, but you do not know what it is yet. What the survivor feels but cannot name. This phase is the most dangerous for survivors because the tension between fantasy and reality becomes so extreme that the survivor begins to feel that something is wrong with them. Common internal experiences include sudden guilt for being happy, strange dreams of abandonment, sensory overstimulation, persistent checking behaviors, echoing feelings of deja vu or unreality, a desire to apologize for everything and for nothing. These are not neurosis. These are your body trying to name the symbolic dissonance. The mirror is beginning to crack, but you are being told that this is what love feels like. Confusion is not a flaw in you. It is the intended outcome of an unconscious system built on regulation, not on relation. The idealization phase is the root of collapse. We often think that collapse happens at discard. MPIT reveals the truth. Collapse begins during idealization because this is the phase in which your internal world is rewritten. Their frozen imago is sealed into your psyche. Your depressive position begins to invert. Your gate is forced to modulate their unmet trauma. Your true self begins to disassociate to preserve the bond. Idealization is not a honeymoon. It is a psychic initiation into inversion. The moment you believe the fantasy is the moment you begin to vanish. You were not fooled, you were colonized. This is what MPIT offers survivors that no other framework does. Validation that what happened to you was not stupidity, codependency, and not naivety. It was a psychic transposition. You were used structurally, symbolically, to rehouse a disordered internal object world. And because your body registered this before your mind did, you began to symbolically metabolize their trauma as your own. You were not loved, you were idealized and then slowly erased.